I want to welcome everyone to the November 21st, 2019 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. Let me say before the meeting starts, man, it's great to have a crowd. We've had 8 years worth of meetings, not had this many people. If you would, please bow your heads as I pray and then join me in a pledge. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the gifts that we receive from you. We ask that you watch over the men and women who serve in our armed forces as well as all of our emergency responders. I ask for wisdom. I ask for understanding for this court and for our community. Grant us humility in our everyday life and give us the courage to make right decisions for our Daviess County community and all of those who live in that community. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, settle down. Once again, I want to welcome everyone to our November 21st, 2019 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. We have a relatively light agenda. The commissioners and I have a meeting with Farm Bureau and Conservation District. And it's out a long, winding, curvy road, so we want to get out here as quick as we can. I've talked to this crowd and the crowd out there. I think this week what we're going to do is have the LGBT community come to the podium. You've selected somebody that's going to speak on your behalf. We're going to allow that one speaker. And one of the reasons somebody asked at our last meeting, why didn't everybody get to speak? Well, I didn't have 4 hours. Well, tonight it would take me 10 hours. And while I'm very interested, all the commissioners are very interested in what you have to say. So far, there has been no ordinance proposed. No ordinance proposed. Let me assure you that if one is proposed and if it comes before this court, that each and every person that wants to speak will be granted the ability to come to the podium and speak. What we always like to do when we have big crowds like that is that you break that crowd down and you have a spokesman for that single point so that we don't have the same person coming up and saying, I'm opposed or I'm for. So 2 weeks ago, I think all of us commended the folks that were here for their civility, their respect of everybody, and I ask that everybody here today treat your fellow seatmate the same way. I can tell you there was some question. I said in the paper that we had about 90 people last time we did. Each of those seats holds about 10 people. If you look, we have 8 people. We have 10 rows, and then we had some people on both sides. We had a few out in the hall last time. I think we've got, before they started, we've got 100 people out in the hallway. So we've got 100 people out. Remember, I'm a good aim with this thing right here. So we're going to get started. Jenny, first item.
Consideration for presentation, A Treasurer's Report for October 31st, 2019.
Mr. Hendricks.
Cash balance at the end of October is $29,530,772. General fund is $9,951,674. Through October, the revenues and expenses are coming in as anticipated, so I have nothing additional to report to the court.
Mr. Hendricks, as I have the last few times we have such a large crowd, somebody's going to leave here and say that place has $29 million in cash and they're going to raise my taxes. Explain to them what that $29 million is all about.
Of the $29 million, in the middle of the form, there's a closure and post-closure for solid waste that's worth a little over $7 million. Those are trust accounts that money is placed into for the sole purpose of closing the landfill when we get done with the sale. So, and if we ever walk away from it totally. So that money cannot be used for anything else. 5.8 of that is also solid waste operating funds. Solid waste takes no money from the general fund. They generate their own cash flow, buy all the big equipment and fund salaries, insurance, whatever. So
What's one of those trash compactors cost?
$1 million.
roughly? $1 million. And we go through one of those about every 5 years.
There's a dozer worth about 800,000. The big truck we just bought,
Right.
articulated truck's about 750.
Right. So, in effect, that general fund balance of the general fund, the $9 million is about what we've got to cover daily operations and all those other things. Everything else is spoken for, pretty much. Now, I would tell you that we're about to enter into a good time, and that good time depends on you going and paying your taxes in a timely manner. So if you haven't paid before this meeting's over, I'm going to have somebody standing outside collecting. Next item, this is nothing more than a presentation by the treasurer. If anyone wants to see this, we have it on file in the office. Next item, Jenny.
Item 2, consideration for approval, minutes of the November 7th, 2019 court meeting.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, you've all had a copy of the minutes in your hands for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion second. Again, Commissioners, you all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
C, fund transfers.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Hendricks.
Requesting the court's authority to transfer $1,600,000 from the general fund to the road fund. This is a normal budgeted transfer. I request your approval.
Question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
D, county clerk's claim for preparing tax bills 2019.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
One of the ways that the county clerk's office funds itself is the charge for preparing the tax bills. They prepared 46,830 bills. They're allowed to collect 30 cents each, of which fiscal court will pay 50%. I've reviewed it. Appears to be in order. I recommend approval.
Any question or comment? We happen to have the county clerk with us. Leslie, where are you? Stand up. There's the lady responsible for those tax bills that I'm going to collect tonight. So, yeah. Okay. Leslie, thank you. You're doing a great job. Any other question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
E, transfer generator to Whitesville Waterworks.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion second. Commissioners, we have a surplus generator. It's a three-phase generator that we're unable to use. We received this from Army Surplus, I think. Andy Ball, our EMA director's over there. I don't need you to speak. The Whitesville, the city of Whitesville, has need of a generator. They can use it on one of their sewage pump stations. This would be, Claude, I'm assuming we declare it surplus and transfer it to the other governmental entity and everything is fine,
Yes, Judge.
correct?
Right.
Any question or comment? Question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
F, promote Ray Whistle to road department senior heavy equipment operator.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second. Ray is a current employee. Ray's done a pretty fair job, and Ray, congratulations on your promotion. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
3, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court. I know of none.
If we go 2 more meetings, Commissioner Caslen, I don't think that we will have had any other business brought before this court for 2 years, right? That's pretty cool. We used to have other business brought before the court, and that's where all us politicians could hide things that we didn't want you to know about. But we quit. Charlie chided me one night about that, and I said, all right, from now on out, if you don't get it to me in time to get on the agenda, too bad, too sad, we'll wait till the next meeting. So thank you for that, Commissioner. Next item.
3, B, public comments.
This is a time during our meeting in which we ask the public to step forward, identify yourself at the podium, and you're welcome to speak on anything other than what's on the agenda. Tonight, we have a gentleman that's going to speak on the other side. That's going to be the only comment we take tonight, unless someone has comment regarding something other than the non-discrimination ordinance. I would use this time to tell you that at least the next meeting, we will not take any public comment on the non-discrimination ordinance, and simply because we've got an agenda that's really full, we're going to have some closed sessions as close to the holidays. I would think that whenever or if an ordinance is prepared and an ordinance is there to be discussed, then we'll have a community conversation. Come to the podium, identify yourself, and have at it.
My name is Tyler Shookman. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of my brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ community. At a very young age, I knew that I was different, and I struggled with who I truly was because of my Christian faith. I grew up in the church and lived a double life into my early 20s. I remember, as a kid, sitting in church, listening to the pastor say, homosexuals are going to burn in hell for eternity. I sat in that pew absolutely crushed. I was scared, alone, and had no one to talk to about what I was going through in fear of being disowned. I would pray myself to sleep. It was to the point in my young life where I contemplated suicide. It wasn't until my best friend's dad, Mark, reached out to me and witnessed to me with his own story. Mark was told by his pastor that if he got married and had kids, it would take away his homosexual feelings. Well, guess what? It didn't. Instead, he is now a married man with kids living a lie. He learned a very tough lesson and taught me that what I was feeling is okay, and that God loves me unconditionally. I can honestly say, if it wasn't for Mark, I wouldn't be here today. I have finally come to terms with who I truly am and live a life as my true, authentic self, saved by grace. The only choice I made was to be honest with myself and the people I love. I absolutely love Owensboro. Our city has come so far, but not quite far enough. Unfortunately, you have refused to protect all of Daviess County residents from discrimination. Currently, sexual orientation and gender identity are left out of our civil rights protections. This is an utter disappointment to all of us and a complete failure of our local elected officials. I don't want the city of our love to be known as a city of hate and discrimination. I firmly believe that one day, all of us will live in a city that protects all of its people from discrimination. The future of Owensboro is much brighter than the reality is right now. I believe in an Owensboro where who you love is not a deciding factor on whether or not our city will protect you from discrimination. I believe in an Owensboro where a child doesn't have to go to school in fear of being bullied, humiliated, or discriminated against because they are gay. Owensboro's future should be one where all people, regardless of their differences, can live, work, and learn in an environment free from discrimination and harassment. 15 other cities in the state of Kentucky have passed similar ordinances protecting all of their citizens. It's disheartening to know that I can be fired, denied service and housing for being gay in the fourth largest city in Kentucky. Just under 5,000 people have signed our local petition in support of a non-discrimination policy, and we aren't going to back down. Instead of burning bridges with the people in the LGBTQ community, we have an opportunity right here, right now, to build bridges of unity between groups of people who have never been connected before. I pray that God will open your hearts and minds. It's time to do the right thing. Do this for the future of Owensboro, Daviess County. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it at you. Thank you, Tyler. I'm trying to think of where I'm going. A powerful statement. I appreciate that. Last time, we asked that all of those who supported or who opposed a fairness ordinance to please stand. This time, you guys can stand if you want to. Thank you. And Pastor, I saw you back there. A little late getting up, weren't you? It's kind of like getting to the table. If you're a little late, But anyway, would all those in this room who support non-discrimination ordinance please stand? And I'm told that there are 180 people standing in the hallways. Okay. Sit down. All right, Jenny, next item.
C, comments by Daviess Fiscal Court.
Commissioner Caslen.
Pass.
Commissioner Koger.
I'd just like to say, Judge, that the reason our name plates are not up here, in case some of y'all don't know us, we were at another meeting, and somewhere between that meeting and here, they've gotten misplaced. So accidents happen. But I just wanted to bring that out in case there's some people out here in the audience who doesn't know who we are. I mean, you hear our names, but maybe you don't see our face. So.
Calm them down. Commissioner Koger, go ahead and tell them who lost the names.
One of our secretaries, I think. I'm not sure, right?
It was me. I'm
Oh.
sorry. What? Deputy, what did you say? All right, we're all right.
But anyway, thank all of y'all for coming out tonight. It means a lot to us, showing the support.
We're going to have to take them out.
They're not saying that for me. I'm just.
No, I know. Well, no. They can't even see. Well, they're seeing the reflection off
They
your
are,
head.
you know,
Right.
yeah. You're right.
Commissioner Wathen.
Yes, I have a comment. Some individuals have asked me how I know how I will vote when I have not read an ordinance. First off, we have been studying a draft ordinance for a while. I think most of you either have a copy or you have access to it. The draft was given to us by Claude Porter, our county attorney. As I studied the draft, a couple of things became obvious to me. First, probably most cities who pass a fairness ordinance use pretty close to the same language with a little tweak here and a little tweak there. Everyone wants to write the perfect ordinance, the theory being that they can take care of all objections, and so it will pass. Secondly, and to me most importantly, I considered that this ordinance is really not about the words that are used in the ordinance. This decision is absolutely not about semantics at all. It is about a larger philosophical question. And I also believe that everybody here knows that too, that it's about a larger philosophical question. On one side, there's a group that I will refer to as the religious conservative. They are convinced that if this law is passed, their religious liberties and freedom of conscience will be eroded. They believe that this is a slippery slope and it causes them much concern. On the other side, the LGBTQ plus community wants the fairness ordinance to pass so as to forward their agenda. They would like everyone in the community to affirm that the LGBT community and their lifestyle is accepted here in Daviess County. To me, the most important thing is how are the members of the LGBT community actually being treated. I believe they're being treated well. Quite frankly, I'm a little confused on how people believe that if Daviess County Fiscal Court votes and passes this ordinance, that all of a sudden, no one in Daviess County is going to be prejudiced and everyone will all of a sudden be fair. I guess I also do not understand how people believe that this will demonstrate the opinion of 102,000 citizens of Daviess County. Since I know how I will vote, I firmly believe that the ordinance is not going to pass. I believe that we owe it to the people of Daviess County to let them know as soon as possible. My intention is to eliminate any false hope that there will be an ordinance that passes. Now I'm going to attempt to explain why I am against this ordinance. As I have stated, I do not believe that you can legislate fairness. And I do believe that when you pass a new law, there are always unintended consequences. Honestly, I'm not sure myself what the definition of an LGBTQ community really is. It seems to be very fluid. It seems like the way you get in is declare yourself in. There's no scientific way to prove you're a member or not. We know that some people join the community and others leave it. It is my understanding that there are 21 official genders. It is my understanding that there are 21 official genders in New York City and over 58 genders reported by ABC News that are used on Facebook. This uncertainty would absolutely make this very difficult to enforce. As I stated, at any time a new law is passed, there are unintended consequences with unforeseen ramifications. As an example, would be if we inadvertently limited the liberty of an organization, a business, or a private citizen to exercise their religious liberties and freedom of conscience. Remember, there are always two sides to every story. I believe that the religious conservative in this country are constantly being told what they can do and what they can say, and what they can't do and what they can't say. They are being forced to do things that are against their personal religious beliefs. If they step out of line or say the wrong thing, their business may be shut down or they could suffer a very expensive lawsuit. To be able to have a moral argument has been taken away from them. Specifically, they will be told that they are using hate speech and probably told that they're a bigot. It seems like a lot of people like to call other people a bigot. I would say that there's a good chance that those who oppose the fairness ordinance would at some point be forced to do things that demonstrate that they are approving same-sex behavior and it is against their moral convictions. Some examples already exist. A lot of you will know these examples. We've had people who had problems that are cake makers, florists, t-shirt companies, Christian Athlete Association, county clerks, Chick-fil-A, female high school athletes, Catholic social services, and even an NFL quarterback, Drew Brees. He was chastised after doing a 30-second commercial recommending that kids bring their Bibles to school on Bible Day. In quite a few of the letters I received, different people talked to me about Jesus Christ and what they believe he will do. Because of that, I'm going to ease into that subject. I also have a thought about what Jesus might say or do. I feel confident that Jesus would say, love God with all of your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And I believe we must always do that, all of us. However, sometimes loving someone gets a little tricky. To truly love someone, you must tell them the truth. I read the other day online that what a writer referred to as the perfect quote. Love without truth is hypocrisy. Truth without love is brutality. After Jesus saved a woman from being stoned to death, he did not just pat her on the back and say, go along and have a nice day. He said, go sin no more. He drove merchants from the temple with a whip. It was a whip that he wove with his own hands. He told them the truth. I believe that Jesus might also tell us, moral truths never change. Let me say that again. Moral truths never change. They won't change if the majority says they should, or if the polls read a certain way. Also, they will not change if the members of this court pass a new ordinance. Another risk of this ordinance is that it will cause division in this community. I can already see that happening. If passed, people will immediately begin testing and trying to find the boundaries on the new laws and the rules. There will be lines drawn, and people who were naturally fair will now only just follow the law. There will probably be more lawsuits. People will do things that they wouldn't have done before. Decisions will be made for the wrong reasons, all because of an ordinance. I firmly believe that we need to end this discussion and put it to rest so that our citizens can move on. To do anything else would not be prudent. It would just prolong the inevitable and to continue to give people false impression and false hope that if we just keep talking about it and massaging the words, somehow it'll pass. I am asking that we end this discussion by doing one of two things, and I ask you, the judge, to do this. Either declare the ordinance dead on arrival, which I firmly believe it is. We have to have 3 votes before it passes. There are not 3 votes. Or put the ordinance up for a vote. Quit dragging our feet, put one up there, and let's get it over with. If we're going to vote on one, let's vote on one. If we're not, let's declare it gone. To be in limbo is painful. It's painful for everybody. It's painful for me. It's painful for everybody in this room, in the hall, and 102 citizens of Daviess County. Either way, we need to stop the tension and the disagreement so that we can move on with other business. Thank you.
Commissioner, yes. Yeah, no, there's no point of order, so you just calm down. Commissioner, I hear your call. Since it's in my purview to put things on the agenda and to continue to allow discussion, I'm not going to do what you ask. Secondly, no, that's not what we're up here for, but secondly, there are a lot of things that you have brought up that I agree with. There are many things that I disagree with. I think that if we avoided all the things that were divisive in this community, we would still have black people climbing the stairs at the Strand Theater. We'd have them sitting at a different table in the restaurants. We'd have them going to the back of buildings. I believe that if we did not, I'm going to start throwing this thing, guys. I believe, who wants me to throw it? Who clapped? Oh, all right. I believe that women would not be voting today if we didn't discuss and have these things. I believe my wife and I would be divorced probably today if we didn't discuss issues that we disagreed on. Discussion is what brings people together, and we need to be looking for commonality as opposed to the things that divide us. So I think it's a healthy discussion. I think we're going to continue the discussion. I would ask that we not have a discussion at our next meeting. I hate the fact that I know some of the things that you're talking about because I was called, let's see, I made a deal with Satan today. Somebody said that I must have made a deal with Satan. Somebody said that I'm doing what I'm doing to get more votes. Lord, the easiest way to get votes is just sit and do nothing and stay the same way that we were for the last 4 or 8 years and be that way the next. That's not why I'm doing this. I absolutely believe that we have a segment in our community that's being discriminated against. I had a letter, I brought 2 letters out as a matter of fact, and one of them was from a gentleman, and every one of you up here know this man. And he said, as a father of a gay married man, I wish we lived in a world where such discussions were unnecessary. Isn't that in the 21st century? And I think most discussions with our younger people, it's not necessary because there's a very many young people here today. To say we don't need a law is the same as saying we don't need equal employment opportunity laws or civil rights laws. And that's what the gay community is asking. But finally he says, my son would never consider making his home back here in Daviess County for many reasons, but one of those is this issue. We want our kids to come back here after college. If we want them, then we need to show them that we care about everyone. And let's not leave anyone behind. The next one really tugged at my heart. And this lady is the mom of a son who's gay. They realized early on that this young man was gay. He was discriminated at school, at the clubs he joined because he was different. He was discriminated and bullied so much that he contemplated suicide. Once he told his mom and dad, his life changed a bit because they were accepting. Thank God they were good parents and didn't try to change their son. They tried to understand their son, but they loved him and supported him. My son now has a good job in another city that's less judgmental. He would love to come back, but he knows the climate of this area is not safe for him to live. And I think that my mom would have said this same thing for any of her sons. She says, you would like my son. You would like my son. He works very hard, makes good money. He can afford to live where he wants. And she signs it, a grieving mom. Not for my son, but for what I'm having to read in the paper in this community. When you get letters like this from parents, when you get letters from people who have been bullied and have been discriminated against, I don't think that you cannot have the conversation. I don't think that you cannot address the issue. All those who are straight in this room, stand up. All those who are straight out in the hallway, yell. What does it have to do with it? I'm going to tell you what it has to do with it. This isn't a gay thing. It's not being pushed by the gay community necessarily. It's being pushed by these people because they probably have sons and daughters and friends and employees and folks like that. That's what it has to do with it. So, anyway, that was my little preachy thingy. Doggone it. Remember, if you want to come and talk, I'm going to stay here as long as you want to. The commissioners, I'm sure, will as well. We do have another meeting that we've got to go to, so we are pretty limited in our time. I want to remind everybody and remind your friends, we need census workers. We are starting to count next year, and we need census workers to go knock on the doors. They pay $15 to $18 an hour. If anybody knows anyone who would want a part-time job, you can do it after your regular job, all those kinds of... They came right to the table, the food's gone. So pass it on to your friends. Next, I want you to remember the Christmas parade this Saturday, 4:30. It's supposed to be cold and rainy. Come on and see us. Lights at Panther Creek Park after Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving night. Thanksgiving night, David. Opens either Thanksgiving night or Thanksgiving weekend. It's what, $3 a carload, $5 a carload. Come on out. The money goes to all those organizations that work it. I want to thank everybody who came. I want to thank you for your consideration, except for those noisy people out in the hallway. If there's no other business to be brought for Daviess County Fiscal Court, without exception, we're adjourned.